Well, hello there, chums. It is I, Captain Steve, and we are reviewing Beyond Blue on PS4. It came out today. Today is the 11th of June, and yeah, it's quite a lovely sort of game. I mean, when you first pick it up and start playing, you get some lovely cutscenes. You get a nice little bit of story, and slowly sort of ingressed into the world of Mirai, who you take control of. She's a female sort of ocean explorer, and she's checking out some new gear, which is this real fine and dandy piece of kit you can see on her right now. You don't need to go and get any oxygen. There's no sort of survival element. There's no creatures that can hurt you in this. There's some vents that spew out lava. They don't even damage you. So you can't take damage. This is more of like an exploration, relaxing affair of what it would be like to be an oceanographer in the world of Mirai. And to be honest, I was fully engrossed. I loved this. The exploration side was fantastic. Really, really nice. But I get on to the things that I wasn't so keen on as we go through this actual video. So you go over to these buoys, and once you're over to one of these buoy type things, you sort of like home in on where you need to go. Some sort of events that are taken over in the ocean or whatever. There are a few things that you have to do when you go to some of these places. It's not just about interacting with some of the sea life. Sometimes it's about investigating some of the tech that may have fallen off a fish, like a tag or something like that. I mean, there you go. There's a tag at the bottom of the ocean there, which I have to swim down and pick up. So some of these things you have to scan, other things you have to actually pick up or inspect. So there's a little bit of variety there. There is a little bit of problem solving, but not overly. There are some very odd camera angles at times, but not to the point where it completely messes you up. And at this point in time, I wasn't very good with the controls. I was still in the tutorial stage. I have fully completed this game now. When I say fully completed, I've done every single area. I found all fish bar one. There's one fish that eludes me still. I will find that damn fish. But yeah, you have to scan quite a quantity of fish before you actually fully unlock everything. And there was one little area here with this octopus that shot into that cave. You have to follow the octopus. Well, you don't have to follow the octopus into the cave, but if you want to scan the little critter, you kind of do. But I quite like this, where you had to crawl through a little sea cave to actually go and find that octopus. Sadly, there was only this one interaction in the whole game where you're crawling like this through a crawl space to actually find a hidden creature. I mean, it could be that last creature that eludes me is a similar sort of thing, and I just missed out on it somehow. But yeah, so I swam into there and I found the little octopus dude. There he is. Hello, little octopus dude. And the sea creatures in this are beautifully animated. The actual artists that put this together, you can see that they put time and effort into this, because each of the creatures is beautifully animated. What I would say is they don't overly react to the presence of you. They don't sort of scuttle off or shoot off real quick or anything like that. The actual AI of the sea creatures isn't as good as I would have liked to have seen, to be fair, but it's good enough to sort of make you feel that they are living, breathing creatures, but not to the point where, like I said, they actually recognise that you're there. They just go about doing their daily routine, and it's like you're a ghost or something. They don't really interact with you at all. But yeah, I quite liked some of the behaviours of the creatures, though, where they interact with each other. Although they don't interact with you, with each other, it's beautiful the way that they've done this. It's a real work of magistry, and you can see that they work closely with the BBC and the Blue Planet team, because a lot of the footage that is from Blue Planet or BBC is sort of crafted into some of these interactions, and it's beautifully done. There are some breathtaking scenes in this. Now, not everything actually takes place under the water. There is also a sub that you can go aboard and take a little bit of a walk around. It's got a very sort of Subnautica type feel to the sub, it really has. But there's all sorts that you can pick up in here. There's some lovely sort of actual footage, real life footage, and it's beautiful. The way that it's done and put together is fantastic. The scenography, if that's even a word, is fantastic. I mean, look at that. It looks like there's been a proper budget put into actually piecing together all these sort of little bits of footage. And it is beautifully done. I really enjoyed watching each of these clips, and you get them as you progress through the game. The more that you do, the more clips you get. That seems to be the only real reward, though. You're not unlocking new tech, you're not unlocking new features. It's like there's no swim faster frickin' button. No, that does not exist. You swim at 1 meter per second, and it feels a bit slow at times. It's a shame that you can't, really use those frickin' fins you've got on your feet freaking go through the ocean at super speeds. No. You do get to use those little mantas, and you do get to use zoom scans. So you start off with normal scans, and you go into zoom scans. You can see here my fishery. I wasn't all that good at that stage, but I only have one fish left to find. I will find that fish! But my favourite fish is in this, the whale shark, which is great. And you do get multiple pages for some fish, so you can hear their sounds, or you can see which sort of level or depth they're found in the ocean. You do get to learn quite a lot. I would say this is more of a learning game. It's a learning game about the oceans and the actual impact humans are having on the oceans. And that point comes across very strongly. Not overly, it's not in your face every 5 seconds. I mean, sometimes you go down in your catalogue in certain fish and things, and you may come across a carrier bag or something. There is also this, like the helm, where you get to make phone calls to your family, and there's a story component that goes alongside that as well, and you get to make multiple choices from different options of text. I've only played through once, so I don't know whether choosing different things might do different things. I'm not too sure, but I unlocked a few soundtracks, and it could be on other playthroughs. Maybe you might unlock another soundtrack. I had to mute all the music in this because I wasn't sure whether it would be copyrighted. I mean, there's Flaming Lips in there. I know the Flaming Lips. I've got some in my playlist, so I'm fairly sure I would have got copyright strike if I left that on. And there's no sort of pre-warning from ocean to sub, so it would be dangerous for me to live stream this, which is a shame. I mean, I could do on free dives, just make sure I stay in the ocean and not go back there. I think there's settings to turn the music off in the sound settings. There was items like this, which you can find in the ocean. You would have thought going in there and exploring, maybe you would have found a new item or something. I really would like a go faster button. I really would. I mean, she just with her legs up and down like that. But what about if she'd done the whole dolphiny butterfly type swimming effect, and you could really rock it through the water? That they've missed a trick. They've missed a few tricks in this game, and that's going to be reflected in the actual score towards the end, because it felt very monotonous in what you're doing. You're going around scanning sort of whales, and this zoom scan feature, although it's great, there were times where I ended up going through the actual object I was scanning, and it was a bit cumbersome at times. Not all the time. I mean, just every now and again it just felt a little bit alien when I was doing the scans. But I do like the information that it gave, and it did give an extra level of depth. I don't know whether they simplified the controls too much to have this brought to mobile rather than console, but the whole game felt quite simple. I guess they've made it accessible to all ages. So yeah, and it is quite educational for people of all ages. It felt simplified, is what I'm getting at, basically, to the point that it was enjoyable, but it wasn't as enjoyable as something like Aquanaut's Holiday or Endless Ocean. This part was a bit that foxed me for a while, was finding 3 clusters of starfish. I found 2 clusters of starfish, not a problem. This one was slightly elevated, and it foxed me for a good little 5 minutes. And another bit where you had to scan what was called a fluke. I did not know a fluke was the end of a whale's tail, and this whale was on the bottom of the ocean floor and it was dead. And so yeah, trying to find what I needed to scan took me some time. So if you've got that in your mission brief, it's the dead whale's tail. Okay, all right. Anyway, so here we go. There are some breathtaking moments, like I've said previously, in this actual thing. And coming across like a school of sharks was amazing. There's some hammerhead sharks, which are beautiful. I didn't come across any great whites. Maybe that's the missing fish. And there was no sort of goblin shark. There was no sort of megalodon or plesiosaur or any sort of ancient fossils. There was no coelacanths or anything like that, or anything that really sort of said, oh wow, I found something amazing. There was none of that either. So, and there was no shipwrecks at all, which was a bit of a shame. I found a tire and some plastic bottles and things and a carrier bag, but no shipwrecks, which is a bit of a shame. I would have liked to see. There you go. So this is where I was trying to scan the baby whale when it was with the mother whale, and it kept clipping it inside the whale. I couldn't get to the point that I had to scan for some time, and that was very clumsy when it comes to camera positioning, which is a bit of a shame because it breaks the level of immersion. And I didn't have that happen all too often. It was mainly on that one scene, to be fair. Here's my favourite fish, the whale shark. Amazing, beautiful creature. It's a dream of mine to maybe get to swim with one of these creatures in real life. I would love to do that. That'd be fantastic. Heck yes. That is definitely on my bucket list of things to do, to swim with one of these fantastic great beasts. Heck yes. I mean, they're gentle giants, to be fair. I mean, they've got the word shark in the name, but they haven't got the teeth like a shark. They feed on like plankton and krill, I believe. They're harmless, but they're beautiful, majestic, and large. And I was trying to find the actual point to scan. The second point to scan on this one is actually right on its front of its face, and I missed it because of all the little white dots that are already there. Oh, there you go, there it is. It's tiny. So, and it was quite difficult to spot amongst all the patination of the shark. So there are bits that are a bit tedious, but it's tedium that you can deal with because it's such a relaxing game. It's not frustrating at all. And I did actually complete it, and once you complete it, the end game is pretty cool too. You get to unlock all the video footage is unlocked, and some of it is beautifully done. I mean, I'm going to just play you this one.
We're burdened from a time when we thought the ocean was too big to fail.
You can't take anything for granted. Even though the ocean is so big, it is sensitive.
The oceans are the kidneys of the earth. They recycle material and filter it out. Most people don't know that. They're not aware. They see the ocean as a sewer that they can dump anything into, and it's out of sight, out of mind. Nothing is out of sight, out of mind on this planet. Everything is connected.
We're absolutely in this mix of biogeochemistry, and our role so far has been consumptive and destructive. If we are to continue to have a planet that works, we have to heal the harm we've caused.
What's the worst case scenario if we deny that the climate is changing, but actually it is, and we do nothing?
Okay, so you get all the video footage, and you also get a free dive at the end, which is cool, so you can go looking for that missing one fish. But yeah, it's a good game, but I'm going to be scoring it around about a 7.9, mainly because it feels like there's a fair few elements of true gameplay missing. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's going to stay with me for ages. I mean, it's got a message. The message is powerful, and I believe that is the carrying point. I mean, I'm going to remember this game for a long, long time to come. And this game was only £14 on the PS4 over in the UK, and I'd say it's worth every single penny. So even though it got a low score, it got a low score because there's not much content there to play, and it feels like an advanced mobile phone game, to be honest. There are multiple ways to support my channel, Patreon being one of those. Those are all my Patreon backers. Thanking you, Patreon backers, heck yes. And I also have YouTube membership. Now, there are different tiers on Patreon and YouTube membership. Be sure to check both out before making a decision. Or if you prefer merch, head on over to Teespring, grab yourself a gnarly mug or a t-shirt or something else, heck yes. Or hit a like, a subscribe, or that notification bell, or leave a comment. I love reading comments. Or just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Hit one of these tiles on the screen. Stay with Captain Steve and Exo that little bit longer. Thanking you.